Today we are going to look at simultaneous equations, and we want to solve for x and y. So we are given two equations, and both equations contain an x and a y variable. So our first step is to simply take this first equation and number it as our number 1, and then take the second equation and number it as our number 2. Then we want to identify which one of these two is our linear equation. Well, this is our linear equation because there's an x to the power of 1 and a y to the power of 1. So we are going to focus on this one for now. So what do we want to do with it? We want to rewrite this equation so that one of these variables becomes the new subject of the equation. Now here's a little trick. We will choose the variable that has a coefficient of 1. Now this x has a coefficient of 1, so this x will become my new subject. So all I need to do is take this minus 2y to the other side and it becomes a plus 2y. And then I write it as x is equal to 1 plus 2y. And now our x is our new subject of this equation. And because this one looks a little bit different as that one now, I'm going to number this as our number 3. And from now on, I'm just going to focus on equation 3 and equation 2. So our next step is to take this equation 3 and substitute it into equation 2. So I write that down. Substitution of equation 3 into number 2. And then I simply write down our second equation. There it is. And I just want to point the following out. Please do not substitute equation 3 into equation 1 because they're the same equation. So that's not going to give you the right answers at all. Okay? So just keep that in mind. We're going to substitute equation 3 into equation 2, and I'm not going to work with this equation 1 anymore. So now all I need to do is, because this is x is equal to 1 plus 2y, everywhere where I see a x in this equation 2, I am just going to put this 1 plus 2y. So the first thing I do is I rewrite the entire equation down, but in the place of the x's, I put these brackets first. So now I can quickly see whether I left things out. So there's the square, there's a plus y squared, there's a plus y squared, there's the minus 3, there's the minus 3, and there's the y and the y at the back. Okay, excellent. Now in the place of these brackets, I am simply going to take this 1 plus 2y, it's going to go into this bracket, and it's going to go into that bracket. And so far so good. Substitution done. And now I'm just going to multiply. So this is a product of two binomials, and I know you know how to do this one. So we simply go the first times the first, that gives us 1. First times the second times a 2, that gives us plus 4y. And then second times second becomes a plus 4y squared. Now the next one is a distributive law. So we have a minus 3y that we have to multiply in with the 1. That gives us minus 3y. And we have a minus 3y times the plus 2y, and that gives us minus 6y squared. And don't forget to write down the plus y squared again, as well as this 1. There we go. Now just to come back to this distributive law, please don't forget about this y at the back. It's the same as if we said minus 3y and then the bracket. Okay, so minus 3 bracket and then the y is the same as minus 3y and then the bracket. So you can write it as minus 3y if you want to. I just left it this way because I remember about the y. Okay, so there we go. And now because this has squares, as you can see, we know that this is a quadratic equation. I need to move all my terms to one side and simplify. Now, plus 4y squared minus 6y squared plus y squared gives me minus y squared. And then a plus 4y minus 3y is a plus y. And this 1 and minus this one, because this one is going to go over and become a minus 1, that's going to give us a 0. So this is now all that is left. Now this is also a quadratic equation and we need to factorize. But there's a minus in front of this y squared. So it makes it difficult for us to factorize like this. So I'm going to get rid of that minus by multiplying with the minus all the way through. I'm allowed to do it because this is an equation, and what I do on the left side I also do on the right side, and then I end up with y squared minus y equals 0. And then from here I have to factorize this quadratic equation, so I take out a common y and we have left a y minus 1 equals 0. And this is a zero product rule, so what makes this y a 0 when this y is a 0? There we go. And then what makes this bracket a 0 when y is equal to 1? And that is our answer for this zero product rule. And now we have our y's, and we can quickly go and figure out what our x's will be. So we take this y equals 0, and then I'm going to substitute the y equals 0 into equation 3 because it's such an easy equation. So I write it down. X equals 1 plus 2y. Then I'm going to say x equals 1 plus 2, and in brackets I'm going to put that 0 in the place of the y, and when I do this I get x equals 1. And there we go. And if I want to write it as coordinates, when x is 1, y is 0, or when y is 0, x is 1. Then we also take this y equals 1 and we do the same. We're going to do substitution of y equals 1 into equation 3. I write down x equals 1 plus 2y. Then I'm going to say x equals 1 plus 2, and I'm going to put brackets instead of the y. This one goes into the brackets and we get x equals 3. And the coordinates will be 3 and 1. And that is all there is to it. So I hope you could follow, and good luck with the examples. See you again. Bye.